Do you want to take a huge leap in photography? Because there's one small thing that can jumpstart your progression and make your photos look so much better. In this video, I'm going to tell you what that thing is. Be sure to watch through the whole video so you don't miss out on anything, because this is really important. Let's begin. There is one big mistake that I still see quite experienced photographers keep on repeating. That mistake is not keeping it clean. What I mean by that is that the photo looks messy. You don't know what the main object is. A main object could be such things as an animal, the sun, a leaf, a water drop, and so on. What's important is that it is the main thing you want your viewers to see. Let me show you a messy photo I took for the sake of it. Here we see different flowers, grass, and other sorts of vegetation. If you're new to photography, this type of photo is not so unusual. The reason is that if we see something interesting, we want to include everything so we don't miss out on anything. But what you should do is only including what's relevant. So the problem with a messy photo is that the viewer don't know what to focus their eyes on. The photo becomes confusing. There are simply too many distracting things that draws the attention away from your main object. So, step 1 is to decide what your main object is. When that's decided, it's time to keep it clean. Keeping it clean means to draw the attention to your main object by removing or changing such things as distracting objects, colors, lights, shadows, etc. Or create a contrast so that your object sticks out, mostly done by changing your background. I will show you the different ways how to do this. You can use a physically clean background so that it is free from unwanted objects. Here you see there's a straw of grass that is distracting the focus from the actual flower. So I simply just pushed it away. Now the background got slightly clearer by cleaning it up by hand. Then you can also put your object in front of a clean background that differs in color from the object. Here you can see me finding a pine cone with some spray paint on it. The cone is too merged into the background for us to see what the main object is, which is the pine cone. So what I did was to physically move the cone away from the ground, and I put it in front of a multicolored wall. By doing this I created contrast in color, which made the cone more visible. To change the background, you can also move around yourself. In many cases you can't move your object, so you will need to move instead, just like I did here. So try some different angles to find a background that differs from the main object. You can also use light. It's preferable that your object is more illuminated than the background, since light attracts our vision. Here you can see that the flower I took a photo of before is much more present than the background when it's highlighted like this. If I move around and find a flower with a background that is more illuminated than the flower itself, the photo looks okay, but it might take a second or two to get a grip of what was the main object, since the background is bright. The photo still works though, since there's a vast difference between the background and the flower. So we have a contrast. Then we have another way to make your photo look clean, and that's focus, or more specifically a short depth of field, which will make your object sharp and the background blurry. There are many different factors involved in depth of field, such as aperture size, distance to the object, sensor, etc. Depth of field is a knowledge of its own, so we'll not go deeper into that right now. But stick around on my channel and I will tell you about it in another video. Anyways, depth of field is probably the best tool for nature photographers, since nature is actually messy and it's hard to find proper background or light, especially if your object is moving. Plus, many animals, plants, insects, etc. in nature want to blend into the background, because they obviously don't want to be spotted. Here I will show you how depth of field can enhance your main object. This is a photo taken with a fairly long depth of field. And here's a photo taken with a short depth of field. If you compare these two, you can see that the background is more blurry in the second photo, so our focus is only on our object. And the background looks more clean and separated compared to the first photo. The last thing is probably the easiest, but still very efficient. And that is to zoom in or get closer. This will make it much more clear about what the main object is, since you enlarge the object by getting closer. You can also combine the different ways if you want to. In many cases, you will do it automatically. If you like my content, then like and subscribe to learn more about photography. And why not leave a comment if you want to ask or say something. That's it. Goodbye.